and welcome to my channel. I'm so excited because today's video is a mystery box challenge. If you guys are not familiar with the mystery box challenge, it's hosted by my friend Courtney over at Creative on the Cheap. She gets a group of us DIY YouTubers together, and each one of us is assigned another person from that group that we have to send a mystery box full of crafting goodies to. And then in each box, there's 2 challenge items that are supposed to be a little bit more challenging to craft with. And then every month there is a twist also that you have to do. And for this month, it is to incorporate red and green yarn along with a button in the same DIY. So this month I sent my box to Jennifer over at A Little Bit of Calm and Crazy, and then Wendy from White Sparrow Living sent me my box that I'm going to be opening up with you guys here today. Well, I'm super excited to see what Wendy sent me, so let's go ahead and open up the box. All right, I'm trying to keep this off camera because I don't want to show any of the labels of addresses and stuff on the box, so I'm just going to do it off to the side here. Okay, I've opened up the box. The first thing in here is a little card here, my name on it. It says, "Happy Mystery Box Challenge, be the light. Sweet Christina Elizabeth, I hope you like the perky prize box I've put together for you. Of course, I put some Dollar Tree items in here, but also added some cuteness from my mini Marshalls, aka my garage stash. I know you'll create lots of beauty. XOXO, Wendy Sue." Aw, thank you, Wendy. So digging right in the box here, we have challenge item number 1, which I'm gonna just put that aside for last. And I'm assuming this is a challenge item number 2. Oh, these are always so good to work with, and this is really cute. Thank you, Wendy. Oh, these are cute. I have not seen these. It's like a window clings from a Dollar Tree, Christmas ones. These are really cute. I like these. Oh, a jar. These are always so good to have. I love this. This is really cute. So far, so good. Oh, this is cute too. I actually have something similar to this. Okay, well, they're stuck together, so I'm just gonna bring them out together. I don't wanna rip the reindeer's antlers off of this one. There we go. One of these. I actually think I have a few of these in my craft stash as well, but this is really cute from Dollar Tree. Reindeer. I'm getting Christmas vibes with the Christmas coming up. This is going to be perfect. This is what I was talking about, that I think I have one almost just like this somewhere around my house. But really cute. Another reindeer. Good, you can do like a little set. Love that. Christmas boxes from Dollar Tree. These are always great to have like for crafting, so I'm really excited for these. And these are really cute. Dollar Tree. I have a bunch of these in my stash. I love these. What else we got in here? Oh, this is cute. Like a little Merry Christmas tree candle holder. Love that. God, Wendy, you're doing really good so far. I love everything you sent. Oh, these are pretty. You can see that. It's kind of a little bit of a glare, but one of them says friends, family, and then gather Christmas ornaments. Got a little tray plate with Santa on here. Love that. Sorry if there's a glare. My lights, I had to put my lights on today because it's pretty gloomy outside. Oh, looks like there's another one of these house frames. And then we have this little basket, which this is really cute too. Thanks, Wendy. So now we get to open up challenge item number 1 and 2. So let's see what she sent me. All right, challenge item number 1. Cute paper. Take that wrapping paper off. All right, we got reindeer ears, which I actually think I have some of these in my stash. These are really cute. I will definitely be able to do something with these. So thank you for not being so hard on me for the first item. Thanks, Wendy. And challenge item number 2. What do we got here? These are like mini birthday hats. Okay. I might have to think on this one, but not too hard. I'll be able to do something with these. It just is gonna take me a couple days to figure out what exactly I'm gonna do. That was everything that was in the box. I'm gonna take a few days to think about what I'm gonna make with all of these items, and then I'll be back to craft and show you exactly what I came up with. For the first DIY, I'm going to be using one of these wire reindeer that Wendy sent me in my box. And at first I wasn't sure what I was going to do with this. I had a few ideas and I ended up just deciding to pull the two that are connected here by the candle holder apart. So all of the wires were really easy to just pop off. So once I had it down to one reindeer, I then just took off the antlers as well. And then I'm just going to be painting the entire wire of the reindeer with my folk art chalk paint in the color Rich Black. Then I'm going to be using one of these larger wooden framed pieces, and this one is from Hobby Lobby. I'm painting the entire inside of this piece with the folk art paint in the color Old Ivy. And then once this is painted and dry, I'm just going to be hot gluing that wire reindeer right to the front bottom portion of my piece. Then I decided I was going to paint the inside of the reindeer, and the paint color I'm using here is from Waverly and it's called Ivory. And it's probably a little bit easier if I would have done this before I put the reindeer down, but I like to do things the hard way. So once the reindeer was all painted on, I decided I was going to use this reindeer feed stencil that I had in my craft stash. It was a little bit large, so I ended up cutting it down a little bit so I would just have the words to use. And here I'm just getting it spaced where I want it to be, and then using some painter's tape to secure it down. I'm then using my Waverly chalk paint in the color Ivory on all of the words, and then once the paint has completely dried, I'm removing all of the painter's tape and the stencil. I had some of these black sticks left over from Halloween, and I thought that they would be really cute as antlers for my reindeer. So here I'm just going to be breaking them apart a little bit and cutting them down to give the appearance of antlers. And then all of the areas that you can see where I broke them apart, I'm just covering those up with a little bit of black paint. And then I still have not stained the frame of my sign yet, so here I'm going in with my folk art wood tint in the color Walnut to stain the outside of the frame. And then here I'm going in and just hot gluing those antlers at the very top of my reindeer's head. Then I'm using some jute to make a really simple bow, and then I'm just attaching that to the neck of my reindeer using some hot glue. And this is what the sign looks like all finished. I actually really love how this one turned out. I was not sure what I was going to do with that reindeer at first, but I'm so happy with how this one turned out. Now for DIY number 2. For this one, I'm going to be using the larger gift box that came in this set that Wendy sent me. And the first thing I'm going to be doing to the box is just painting the entire outside of it with my folk art chalk paint in the color Burnt Umber. I wanted this to be painted because you might be able to see some of it poking through, and I just would rather it have the brown color than the Christmas trees. So once it was painted and all dry, I'm then going to be using some of these cinnamon sticks from Hobby Lobby, and I'm just going to be hot gluing them on the outside of my box. These were already cut to the perfect size for this box, so it worked out perfectly. I went around the entire box just continuing the steps of gluing on the cinnamon sticks. So once I have them all glued on, I'm then going to be using some of this really pretty Christmas ribbon from Joann Fabrics. I'm just wrapping it around my box and my sticks to see how long it needs to be, and then I'm cutting it down to size. I'm then attaching the ribbon using some hot glue along the back side of the box, and then I wanted to add some of this white rope around the middle of the ribbon. So here I'm just cutting it down to size just like I did the ribbon, and then I'm hot gluing the ends of that rope along the back side. For a little detail piece on the front of my box, I'm going to be using this rustic style star ornament, and this one is from Hobby Lobby. And here I'm just taking my pliers and breaking off the little ornament piece at the top because I will not need it. And then I'm just going to be using some of that Waverly paint in the color Ivory, and I'm just putting the paint around all of the edges of the star and then a little bit in the middle on those raised pieces. I don't have the footage of me gluing the star on the very front of my box, but here you can see I've just used some hot glue to attach it right in the center of the ribbon and the rope. Now I'm going to be using some greenery for the inside of the box, and these ones are both from Hobby Lobby. But first I'm going to be putting a piece of floral foam in the bottom of the box, and then I'm just cutting the pieces of these greenery down a little bit so they're easier to work with, and then I'm just pushing them into the floral foam. And I continued to do this until I had my box full of the greenery, and then I ended up adding some of these really pretty iced berries, and these ones are also from Hobby Lobby, and I just cut a few of them down and stuck them in between the greenery. This is the project all finished. I love how cute and rustic this one is, and it was super easy to create. Moving into DIY number 3, for this one I'm going to be using this Dollar Tree Christmas plate that Wendy sent me, and I'm also going to be using this wood round. This one came in a pack of I believe 5 from Hobby Lobby, and I'm just going to be painting the entire thing with my Waverly paint in the color Ivory. Then I'm going to be using this Merry Christmas wood cutout. This is from Joann Fabrics, I believe last year, and I'm just going to be cutting off the jute hanger that was along the back side. I then needed to paint this cutout, so for all of the trees that are behind the trees that are in the front, I'm painting those with the color Old Ivy from Folk Art, and then for all of the smaller trees that are in the front, I'm doing those a different shade of green, and it's called Crocodile, also from Folk Art. And then there's like a little snow patch underneath the trees. I'm using Ivory for that. And then for all of the Merry Christmas words, those I'm just painting black, and I'm doing the same rich black color for the outer circle of this piece. Next, I'm going to start putting everything together. I placed a ton of hot glue right in the center of the Christmas plate, and then just attached that wood circle that I painted Ivory right over top. And then you probably guessed it, I used some hot glue to attach the Merry Christmas wood cutout right over top of that circle wood round. I then decided to paint the outer edge of the plate that was still showing. I wasn't sure if you were going to be able to see it or not once I add my greenery, but I wanted to make sure that I had it at least a green color in case it poked through. So here I'm just using that Old Ivy color, and I did do a couple of coats of paint along that plate's edge. Then once the paint was dry, I started just hot gluing some of these greenery pieces from Hobby Lobby around the entire edge of the plate. Once I had all of my greenery on, I decided I wanted to create a bow. So here I'm taking some of this Christmas ribbon from Joann Fabrics, and I cut a piece that was probably like 5 inches in length, and then I'm just hot gluing the two ends of the ribbon together. And that's gonna be the first piece for my bow. I cut another piece that was a little bit longer than the first piece, and I'm doing the same thing, just hot gluing the two ends of that piece together. And then I'm also doing a third piece that is a little bit longer than that second piece that I just cut. And again, hot gluing the two ends of this piece together as well. I'm then stacking all of those pieces from largest to smallest, and then I'm just gathering them in the center and using some jute to tie around the middle to create my bow. I am leaving the two jute pieces along the back a little bit longer because I'm also going to need to add a tail to this bow. So for the tail, I'm just going to be cutting a pretty long piece of ribbon, and then I'm just gathering it in the center and then just attaching the center of that right on the back side of my bow with those two longer jute pieces. I then cut the tail ends of my bow in a V, and then I just needed to hot glue it to the very top of my plate right above the words Merry Christmas. Then for the very last step, I just needed to add a hanger to the back side. So here I'm just taking a strand of jute, and then I'm doing a knot on each end of that strand, and then just using some hot glue along the back side to attach it. This is what the wreath plate looks like all finished. I actually really love how this one turned out as well. The colors go perfect with my Christmas decor, so I know that I'll be using this in my home this Christmas. Moving into DIY number 4, for this one, I'm going to be using this cross piece from the box that Wendy sent me. And the first thing I wanted to do was just take out the cross from the frame. So while I was trying to take it out, I accidentally broke the frame, but no worries. I just used a little bit of hot glue to attach it back together, and then we were good to go. Then for the frame, I'm using the Waverly paint in the color Ivory to paint the entire thing. And then I'm also going to be using 3 of these unfinished wooden trees. These ones are from Joann Fabrics this year, and I'm painting all 3 of the trees with my folk art paint in the color Old Ivy. I'm also going to be using one of these larger craft sticks, and then I'm cutting off both ends of this piece so that I can have it fit into that space that's in like the center inside of the frame. So once I have it cut down to size, I'm then painting it with my folk art paint in the color Red Cardinal. I'm also going to be using these unfinished wood letters to spell out the words Tree Farm. I did cut these ones out myself on my X-Tool M1, but you can always find unfinished wood letters at pretty much any craft store. For all of the letters, I'm just using my white paint pen to paint them all in. I'm then going to start putting everything together. I placed that craft stick in the little space and just slid it up inside, but I wanted to make sure that it was nice and secure. So here I'm just adding a little bit of hot glue in that space and then just pressing the craft stick into the glue. Next, I am hot gluing all of the trees in the bottom groove of the frame. So here you can see I'm doing 2 trees on each side, and then for the center tree, I'm having that one placed in front of the other 2 trees that are on the side so that they're kind of like overlapping. Next, I'm getting all of my letters to spell out Tree Farm spaced exactly how I want them to be before I start attaching them using some hot glue. This is the Tree Farm sign all finished. This one was a super easy project to do, and I think it turned out super cute. Next up is DIY number 5. For this one, I'm using the basket from the box, and the first thing I noticed that some of the pieces on the basket were broken, so I'm just gonna put this side on the back so you really can't see it. First thing I'm doing is painting the entire basket with the Waverly paint in Ivory. Then I wanted to give this basket kind of like a rustic look. So next I'm using the color Burnt Umber from Folk Art, and I'm just kind of randomly painting this color around the edges and then dry brushing a little bit as well. So I did this on the entire basket, again, just to give it more of that rustic look. Next, I'm going to be using some of this ribbon from Joann Fabrics. If you can't tell, I love this ribbon. I'm just wrapping it around the basket and cutting it down to size. And then to attach the ribbon, I'm just using some hot glue and wrapping the ribbon around the center of the basket. Then I wanted to add some jute just to give it more, again, of that rustic look. And I'm just going to be taking 2 strands of the jute and I wrapped it around the back of the basket. And then on the front of the basket, I just created a really simple bow. And then I did add some hot glue underneath the bow just to make sure that it stays secure and in place. Next, I'm taking some of this burlap fabric that I had in my craft stash and I'm just kind of stuffing it into the basket just randomly because I wanted kind of a messy look. And then I was gonna put this Christmas tree that I have in my Christmas decor in the basket, but I couldn't find it. So I ended up going to Hobby Lobby and I found these 2 really cute trees. They were like $5 a piece. And I ended up just placing 2 of the trees in this basket. And I just think it looks so cute and rustic, and it is like perfect for my style of Christmas decor. So this is what the basket looks like all finished, really rustic, super cute. And this is what it looks like with the 2 trees in it. And I just absolutely love how this one turned out. Now moving into DIY number 6. For this project, I'm using this glass bottle from the box. And I'm also gonna be using this burlap bandana from Hobby Lobby. And here I'm just cutting off all 4 seams around the edge of the bandana because I wanted the burlap to fray a little bit and look somewhat rustic. So once I have all of the edges cut off, I'm then going to be placing the bottle right in the center of that square, and then I'm pulling up the fabric to the top of the bottle. And once I get it positioned the way I wanted it to be, I ended up using my hair tie to wrap around the top of it just to hold the fabric in place while I tied some jute around the very top of it. And then once I had the jute tied around, I just took the hair tie off. But the hair tie really came in handy for doing that. Next, I am just going to be cutting some of the longer burlap at the top off because a few of the pieces were a little bit long. So once I got those cut off, I then wanted to add some of this Christmas ribbon from Joann Fabrics. You guys, it's like in every project in this video because I love it so much. But it was a little bit thick, so here I'm just cutting off the wire edge on both sides of the ribbon just to make it a little bit thinner. I'm then wrapping that ribbon around my bottle, and at first I was gonna do a bow and then realized I didn't have enough ribbon on the front, so here I just ended up tying a knot, and I thought it looked really cute this way as well. And then I am going to be adding some of this craft wire. I'm not really sure what it's called other than craft wire, but I've already put one of these rustic Christmas bells on the wire, and here I'm just wrapping it around the front of my bottle and then just twisting the wire to hold everything into place. Here's the project all finished. I did end up adding some greenery and berry stems, both from Hobby Lobby, and I just think this is such an easy and super cute project for this Christmas. Next up is DIY number 7. For this project, I'm using 3 of the house picture frames that Wendy sent me in my box, and then I'm also adding a 4th frame from my own craft stash. So for this project, when I looked back at my footage, a lot of the files were corrupted. So I'm just gonna have to tell you guys what I did by showing pictures of the project, and then later on you'll be able to see actual footage. So I have 4 of the houses, and I took out the glass frame, or the glass part of the picture frame. I painted all of the houses with my Waverly paint in the color ivory, and then for the little cardboard backing that sits over the glass or behind the glass, that part I painted with my red cardinal color from Folk Art. I also cut out 4 Christmas words on my X-Tool M1, but you can always use unfinished wood letters from the craft store. I did 4 Christmas words: Merry, Noel, Joy, and Peace. I then painted all of the words with my white paint pen, and then for each house, since there's 4 houses and 4 words, I just hot glued the words inside of the frame over top of that red backing. So I hope I explained that well. So sorry that the footage was corrupted. I even went to 8 different Dollar Tree stores trying to find these houses so that I could refilm it, but I was just unable to find the houses. I also used some of this greenery wire from Hobby Lobby to create 4 mini wreaths, and then I glued those at the top of the houses. Now to actual footage. Here you can see I'm just hot gluing all 4 of the houses together, and if you couldn't tell already, this is going to be a candle holder. So now that I have my houses all glued together, I did need to have a bottom for this. So I'm just taking this piece of balsa wood that I had in my craft stash, and I'm just seeing exactly what size I need to cut it down to. So once I had it marked, I then cut the balsa wood off camera, and then I'm just going to be painting it with the Waverly chalk paint in the color Ivory. I'm then using some hot glue on the bottom side of all of the houses and then just attaching that piece of balsa wood. I did want to have the candle raised a little bit, so I just put a wood block inside of the candle holder and then placed a Dollar Tree candle on top. This is what it looks like all finished. I really love how this one turned out as well. I'm really happy. Wendy was nice and sent me such wonderful items in my box. Next is DIY number 8. For this one, I'm using the wire crate that came in the box, and then I'm also using one of the ornaments that Wendy sent in the box as well. First thing I'm doing is just taking off the greenery and berries that were on the ornament, and then I'm going to be flipping it over and cutting off the jute hanger. I am going to be using the back of this ornament as the front of a sign that I'm creating. Here I'm painting the back side of the ornament with the folk art paint in the color Red Cardinal. I'm just painting right over the jute pieces on the sides because I'm going to be covering those up later so you won't even see them. Then I'm using the words Hot Cocoa. These unfinished wood letters I did cut out on my X-Tool M1, but again, you can find these at any craft store. Then I'm using a white paint marker to color all of the letters in. And as you guys know, I had corrupted files and I did not have these scenes, but I'm using this Warm Up Here wood cutout. That one came from the Target Dollar Spot last year. And then I used some white rope and hot glued that as a hanger on the top of the sign, and then just used some hot glue to attach the Hot Cocoa letters underneath the Warm Up Here. The wire crate came with 3 bottles. So for the first bottle, I'm filling it with chocolate chips. The second one, mini marshmallows. And then for the third bottle, I'm just going to be making a funnel with a piece of paper towel and adding some cocoa powder. Once I have all of my bottles filled up, I did need to have a covering for the bottles since they didn't come with a cork or anything. So I cut 3 square pieces of this fabric from Hobby Lobby, and I'm just going to be placing the fabric over top of the bottle. And here I use my trusty hair tie once again to hold the fabric into place so that I could get the jute wrapped around the top of the bottle without the fabric moving around. So again, I did that for all 3 of my bottles. Next, I'm using some of this craft wire and I'm placing it around the wires on the crate and just kind of twisting it. This is how I'm going to be attaching the Hot Cocoa sign. So once I have the wire around the crate, I'm then just going to be kind of wrapping my rope around that wire and then twisting the wire so that the sign stays in place. For the last step, I'm just adding all 3 bottles back into the crate, and this is what it looks like all finished. This was a super easy project and it would look perfect on a tiered tray. Next up is a DIY number 9, and I'm using a challenge item. For this one, I'm using the reindeer headband that Wendy sent. And the first thing I'm going to be doing is just cutting off all of the red fabric from the headband. Once I have that off, then I just needed to remove the reindeer ears. So the fabric actually just slides right off there, and then you're left with these 2 long plastic pieces. And then these actually were really easy to cut off just using some scissors. So now I just have the headband and I'm hot gluing the bottom of the headband together to form a circle. Next, I'm going to be using some of this wire pine greenery from Hobby Lobby, and I'm wrapping the entire headband with this. And this is going to give me like a nice base. So then I'm using some of these greenery stems from Hobby Lobby. These are my favorite to use. They are the most realistic for the price that I've found. So here I'm just kind of just ripping them off of the stems, and then I'm cutting them down smaller so that they're easier to work with. And then I'm going to start hot gluing them around the entire headband. And I just continued to do that until I had the greenery wrapped and glued around the headband. Then I thought it would be really pretty to add some of these iced berries. These ones are also from Hobby Lobby. I just cut them off of their stems and then hot glued the berries just kind of randomly around the mini wreath. I ended up adding a candle to the center to make it a candle holder, but this could also be a mini wreath as well. This was super easy to do, and who knew that a reindeer headband could be turned into this super cute candle holder. Now we have the 10th and final DIY today, where I'm using the second challenge item and I'm also including the twist. So here are the birthday hats that Wendy sent. This is a challenge item. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is taking one of the birthday hats, and I need to kind of like take it apart. So on the inside of the hats, there's tape. So I am just removing all of the tape so that I can take the little strings that hold your head on the hat off. So once I have that off, I then can kind of like reshape this piece. So I'm just going to be making it a little bit smaller, and then once I have it formed into the smaller cone shape that I want, I'm using some hot glue to just hold that into place. And you can probably already tell I am creating a Christmas tree. Now I'm going to start attaching some of this white yarn to my birthday hat. I use some hot glue to start the yarn, and then I'm just randomly wrapping the yarn around my hat and then just adding a little bit of hot glue here and there to hold the yarn in place. Once I have the entire birthday hat wrapped in the yarn, I am just going to be tucking the last piece of the yarn where I cut underneath and the inside of the birthday hat so that you really can't see it. For the twist, I needed to add a button, so here I'm going to be using some of these star buttons, and I'm just placing them or putting them through this craft wire, and I did about 5 of them, and I had them spaced out a little bit between each one. And then now I'm just going to be attaching the wire and the little star buttons around my Christmas tree as garland for my tree. I ended up adding another button to the very top of my tree as the Christmas star topper. And then here is where I'm going to be adding another twist into this project. I'm going to be using some of this red yarn, and I'm just using this as a garland around my tree as well, using some hot glue to secure the yarn and just randomly wrapping it around the tree. Next, I'm taking a small piece of this floral foam and I'm hot gluing it on the inside of my tree. Once that's attached, I'm then going to be using one of these dowel rods from Dollar Tree, and I'm staining it with my Folk Art wood tint in the color Walnut. Once it's all stained, I'm then just going to be poking that up inside of the floral foam. For the base of my tree, I'm using these 2 small wood rounds. These, I believe, are from Dollar Tree, and I'm hot gluing both of them together, and then I'm going to be hot gluing that dowel right in the center of the top round. I wanted to add a little bit of detail to the bottom, so I cut some really small greenery pieces and I'm hot gluing them at the very bottom of my stem, and then I did add a little tiny jute bow as well. This is the tree all finished. I'm so happy I was not only able to do the challenge item, but I was also able to add a twist in with the challenge item. I really hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, I hope that you will consider subscribing. Please be sure to hit the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any of my future videos. And don't forget to go down in the description box and click on the playlist so that you can check out everybody else's video that are included in this month's Mystery Box Challenge. And I want to thank Courtney again for asking me to be part of this challenge. It was so much fun. Thank you so much for watching.